Hello, Andy Shelton here with ScenePro. I wanted to give you some video examples of some testing that we did with the Georgia State Police. So you live, you learn, and I'm learning a little bit about this software every day of the week. There's plenty to do with it, and I realized I made a mistake in the process of running this. If you look, I've got a really long run here, and the timeline on this run is about 41 minutes. It was a mistake on my part. I simply forgot to hit the end run after we had done some brake testing at the beginning of it. So this is going to be brake testing video. I'll break this and then I'll do the end of the run over here, which is actually going to be a line of sight testing video. I'll come back in and run a second video when I do that. So just to get started off here real quick, you actually see that there's 4 brake test cycles that were done. The data lines that I'm showing, I've got longitudinal acceleration, speed, pitch, and roll. That's going to be pitch and roll of the vehicle. So it's going to be how the vehicle is acting on the road surface that you've got. I wanted you to see the pitch and roll so you can understand a little bit of what we're looking at. If you look at the maximum or the average accelerations here, you'll see they go 819, 838, 832. So there's some changes in the acceleration rate just a little bit. I want to show you where that comes from. The ScenePro software is the only software on the market available to law enforcement that gives you this ability. So we're going to highlight run 1. You can see your deceleration line. You can see the longitudinal accelerations. Here's pitch, and there's roll. And you can see the road that we're on is not really the greatest road in the world. As we go to the next one, we look and we see that pitch and roll have changed quite a bit. So if you look at the roadway, we're not exactly centered up in the same spot on the roadway on these 2 sides. It looks like we've drifted a little bit farther to the right in this lower test, which is going to be run 2 than we have on the upper test. But also we're a little bit farther down the road. I can zoom in here and show you what I mean there. So there's test 1, test 2, and test 3. So we start drifting a little bit farther down the road. So we're not testing exactly the same surface, and you're going to see that there is some difference in roll and pitch as that happens. The deceleration rate is fairly similar. Longitudinal accelerations are fairly similar there. Highlight test 3. We can see now that test 3 really is significantly different as far as roll goes. Pitch is similar, but there's some spikes here. Spike on 2, and then a drop on test 3. Test 4, I'm not even going to show you because it was some goofing around that we did while we were there. Anyway, speed, you can overlay that and see that we've still got a similar deceleration. Longitudinal accelerations, you got some differences in here, but if you look, you can see there's some differences in pitch and differences in roll. So looking at this data, perhaps I would want to go back and retest and try and target stopping at the same point each time in order to improve the data that I've brought into the system. So I'm going to hit clear, or escape rather. I'm going to go back to the very beginning of the first test and just let it play so you can see the video run. There's the end of test 1. And note, I've got 2 videos that are synced together here. We sat for just a couple of seconds. During this time period, we hit print to let the thermal tape run out so we could look at what we had as far as results on that test. We're going to back up and reset and run a second test here in just a second. And you can see there that we did come to a stop in a different spot. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video. We'll break this at this point in time, and I will come back in a little while and do the line of sight testing that we did at the end of this run. For the Georgia State Police guys, I will send you all 3 videos or all 3 tests running together so that you can see what they look like. Thank you and have a good day.